We start with an FA Cup third round tie at White Hart Lane in 1982. Spurs were beginning their defence of the trophy they'd won at Wembley the previous May. Commentary comes from Brian Moore.
Just to keep you up to date, Tottenham's new stand now has its bright blue seats installed, and it's planned to open it officially when Nottingham Forest come here for the League Cup on Wednesday week. But elsewhere, the ground here at White Hart Lane is almost packed with an all-ticket crowd. They've waited in terrible conditions after a morning of absolutely torrential rain. And here's Ricky Villa, who scored the winner for Spurs at Wembley last May. He's had trouble with a hamstring for the bulk of this season, though, and injury has also been a problem for striker Mark Falco. Ankle ligament trouble since October, in fact, but he returns now to find that he's still top scorer with 9 goals. Arsenal, meanwhile, provide a first cup tie appearance for 17-year-old Stuart Robson, who made his first full league appearance at right back against West Ham last month. And behind him, well, the one and only Pat Jennings. Some 13 seasons a Tottenham favourite. He moved to Arsenal in 1977. And now we come to the kick-off, and Arsenal attacking the goal to our left in the dark shirts with white sleeves. It's amazing to think that it's the first time these two great old rivals have met in the FA Cup here at White Hart Lane. In fact, they've only ever been drawn together once in the FA Cup, and that was at Highbury in 1949 when Arsenal won 3-0. Spurs in white shirts, and getting a throw on that left-hand side. Falco had such terrible trouble with ankle ligaments, and he's had a couple of warm-up games, this big number 8. What an impact he made here at the start of the season, though, with 9 goals in rapid succession. It's a throw to Arsenal. Stuart Robson with it. The throw will have to be taken again. Completely miscued, the young lad there, only 17 with that throw. The slippery ball got the better of him. It could have caused problems. In the end it doesn't. Davis putting it back to Jennings. Sanson. Now Ricks. Finding Talbot. Robson alert enough to go forward and wanting something on the far side. He's a very cool customer there, and he's got John Hollins playing around him, which will no doubt be a help. Talbot. And here's Hoddle, the first real touch for him. A long ball for Villa to chase, but Chris White showed tremendous ability there and good attitude. Chested it down as though it was really a practice game. And certainly for that big Arsenal number 6, it's the first real London derby that he's had to encounter. So far as Spurs and Arsenal are concerned. Well, it's an Arsenal throw. It's John Hollins with it. Davis back for Hollins again. And across the face of that Tottenham goal for a goal kick. And it's players like this, like Hollins, who's shouting and experience and advice will help the younger players in these particularly difficult early moments, and Hollins is giving full voice to it all. Terry Neal, the Arsenal manager in the centre, of course, had a couple of years as manager here at Tottenham. Ricky Villa. Calvin's made a great break down the left for him. Crooks is up alongside him as well. Garth Crooks with against the Arsenal crossbar, a tremendous shot. Arsenal backing away, and Crooks nearly made them pay the supreme price. Chris White with an acrobatic overhead, and it's all hands to the pump for the moment for Arsenal. They get a free kick now, though. What a tremendous shot by Garth Crooks as Arsenal backed away from him. Jennings beaten, but not the crossbar. Big Pat could certainly have known nothing about that Crooks drive. And he knew very little about the shot just before it, but he got down well to save it. And certainly Jennings has had far more to do in this opening quarter of an hour or so, much more than Ray Clements. O'Leary. A real tingling atmosphere about the afternoon. Chris White was casual, as indeed was Hoddle, but Hoddle's pass going straight to Davis. Hoddle and Nicholas between them, hurriedly getting the ball back, and a corner presented to Tottenham. So Arsenal organise themselves as Paul Miller comes forward, and Graham Roberts is in there, the number 4 as well. Here comes the Tottenham corner, curling in there towards Roberts. Jennings will have to grab this one, and Miller was right in there and made it very difficult for the big Arsenal keeper, but it's a free kick for Arsenal. And here's Davis. Perriman in first. Ball playing it in for Crooks, almost getting in behind those Arsenal defenders, but the ball gathering a little bit of pace there on this very wet turf. But that was a fair ball from Hoddle. Certainly there were questioning glances in that Arsenal defence, and David O'Leary is palms down, saying calm down, and for a moment they were almost caught out by Hoddle and Crooks. Miller slightly miscuing, fortunately for him it fell for Perriman. There's Houghton, wearing number 2, playing on the left side of the back 4. Talbot, Davis. Thank you, says Hoddle. Thank you, say the crowd. And Hoddle then gets thanks from Galvin from a lovely pass. Villa looking to force his way through, and in the end Talbot will surely get the better of it. His way back is barred by Crooks. Sunderland just turning it on. This might come for Davis. No, Perriman was there first. The challenge was strong, but Perriman was on his feet again quickly, and the referee calling Paul Davis to him. It was a rash rather than a malicious tackle, and the young man being told to calm it down a little bit. It was noticeable, though, how quickly Perriman was on his feet. It looked a terrible challenge, but he's a hardy fellow, and here he is now, number 6 on the ball again. Hoddle. It's a good promising start, this, for Tottenham. And a lovely ball from Hoddle, who really looks to be on song. Perriman. Villa. Ardiles. Lost himself a little bit, but found his compatriot. Hoddle, who seems to be able to find anybody with ease at the moment. Ardiles. Crooks. And a shot. Oh, a terrible mistake by Jennings. Can't believe it. Crooks can't believe it either. And you can be sure Pat Jennings can't. He puts his hands out. How on earth did that happen? The old Tottenham favourite holds his head in his hands as Crooks shot. Well, look at that. Through those gloved hands, gently reaching the back of the net, but only just. And Spurs go into the lead with probably the most astonishing goal that Pat Jennings has ever had scored against him. Just can't believe it. But the goal counts. Crooks is the scorer. And that's 16-minute score. Ray Clements, I know he's had 1 or 2 that have gone through his legs. I remember one at Hampden Park, and Ray won't say thank you for that. But Pat Jennings, I think, will remember that one for, well, I think all his playing days. you need to look at it again just to believe it. Poor old Pat. Sunderland, a little ducking header there, on for Graham Rix, under that favoured left foot. Rix. Oh, Rix claims to hit the arm of the Spurs defender. The referee didn't want to know, and Hoddle now trying to get Crooks on his way again. Can this be number 2? It must be for Crooks. No, he can't quite make it. Bad luck for him. A tremendous breakthrough, and he's lifted it over Pat Jennings. It looked for a moment as though the angle might be just right for him to add the last formal touch. It wasn't to be. What a ball again from Hoddle. And Crooks, who has looked so sharp and piercing in every run he's made, but that time the agony as well. Falco. That falls for Talbot. Cut out by Hoddle. Picked up by Crooks. Hoddle again. That time cut out by Hollins. Finding O'Leary. Surprising number of misplaced passes in this first half, and there's one by Hollins that hits Villa. Oh, a lovely track by Crooks. Brought down by O'Leary. I don't think there was much O'Leary could do about it. In fact, the referee has said there was no foul there, and get on with the game. A remarkable piece of skill by Crooks, though. The referee even indicating, I thought for a moment, that he felt that Crooks had dived over O'Leary's feet. Crooks with that header. Falco after it. Behind him is Perriman. That's the pass for his captain. Ardiles. Finding a yard from Talbot. A little nick through there for Falco. In goes Ardiles again. 3 against 1, and he really didn't stand a chance. And here's Hollins now breaking away for Arsenal. Sunderland. A touch here for Robson. Now for Hollins. That'll fall for Davis, who's got support from Talbot. Doesn't need it, in fact. A flick on now. Suddenly, Robson is through. And the shot is quite easily saved by Ray Clements. Oh, the 17-year-old suddenly found himself in the clear when maybe his nerve didn't quite hold long enough. The shot was never effective enough. A pass inside to men who were coming forward might have been better. For all that, he's getting a clap of applause from John Hollins as he went back to his right back position. Here's Robson. Sanson, right on the stroke of half-time. Arsenal a goal down. Sunderland trying to find Talbot. Hoddle finding Crooks. A handball this time, giving Tottenham a free kick as we go into time added on. Roberts driving it towards that left touch line, but no chance of Galvin getting up there for that one. Arsenal have hardly put a riveting attacking movement together. Spurs a mere handful, and one that scored them the only goal of this first half. But here's Hoddle in a bit of space. Hitting it straight at Chris White. Now Paul Davis. Possibly a chance for Arsenal to break away right on the stroke of half-time, but Davis misjudged his pass, and here are Spurs with Hoddle. For Crooks. Oh, against the post! That's twice he's hit the woodwork in this first half, as well as scoring. And if that had gone in, that might well have been the end for Arsenal right on the stroke of half-time. Could hardly have been closer. Crooks, having beaten Jennings, hits the post, back across the 6-yard area, and Jennings gathers it with glee. Half-time, and what a moment to end it on. Crooks so close to putting Spurs 2 into the lead, after having done so after 16 minutes, after that amazing error by Pat Jennings, when he allowed the ball to slip through his hands and gently into the back of the net. Fitting is that the whole spirit of this game is going to be lifted in the second half as Arsenal come out and try to make amends for that mistake. The half-time score then at White Hart Lane. Tottenham Hotspur 1, Arsenal 0. And we'll be back in a couple of minutes. And Spurs get the second half underway, leading by a goal to 0. Scored by Garth Crooks. Davis. Something that has been repeated from time to time, where the holders seem to go out in the third round the following year. Well, Spurs are some way at the moment from doing that. Arsenal, though, did go out in the third round last year. They are in some danger of doing it again this time. Kenny Sanson on the ball at the moment. In fact, if memory serves me, it was an own goal by him at Everton that knocked Arsenal out of the cup. Galvin. Crowd are urging him to take the ball down to that byline. In fact, he was given a helping hand by young Stuart Robson, which gives Spurs the corner in this opening minute of the second half. Roberts has gone marauding forward. Miller is right in there as well. It's a very deep one there towards Miller. In fact, a downward header which hit Nicholas and was cleared in the end by Ricks. Sunderland, a lone roll up there at the moment up front, supported by Talbot, encouraging number 8 to go scampering onto that far side, but Ardil is with him, and Ardil's clearance only reaching Sanson, and an offside flag against Alan Sunderland. Clements, who had so little to do in the first half. Perryman, who always finds plenty to do, with the free kick back to his keeper. White underneath this one, but it didn't quite fall for him. Puddle, chased by Davis. Perryman. Negative pass back to Clements. No foul. Bottle there. It's pass finding Villa. Trying to work it to this side to pick up Houghton. He's got Galvin here now. So Galvin going all the way, using his strength well. Collins brings him down, looks apprehensively for a moment there towards the linesman and the referee. Although the crowd were howling for a penalty, neither of the officials gave any indication that was what was in their mind. Roberts. White just touching out a header here for Sanson. Ricks has gone wide on the left. Here's Ricks. Certainly a very good break a moment ago by Galvin. And his strength almost carried him all the way. Instead of that, it's Talbot playing it in there. And, well, Clements had to go down as Sunderland came in. And suddenly, out of nothing, Arsenal might have produced an equaliser. Talbot in the first place, crossing the ball in. Ricks is in here. And now Talbot. And Clements had to do a saving job. Falco. There's Talbot. Now Hollins. Little look up to see what's available, and in fairness, there wasn't much on for it. But here's Sunderland making a good run from the back for Arsenal, and a chance for Alan Sunderland. And Spurs, for a moment, were caught wide open at the back, as Sunderland, Davis and Ricks were all charging in there. And I thought for a moment the ball had fallen for Sunderland. That moment there, but it just went away, and Spurs scrambled it clear. certainly that close shave was enough to inspire Arsenal fans and in turn to get the Spurs fans behind their team as Falco finds Galvin. And a free kick given against John Hollins and Arsenal to Tottenham. Linesman deciding where it's going to be taken from, and it's there. It'll be our dealers with it. Curl one deep towards Falco. Well, Falco's great gift of being where it matters on the end of goal-scoring possibilities was almost shown to good effect there. A good floated free kick from our dealers. And look how close. Sunderland. Our dealers. Huddle. A right foot shot perhaps. Just over. Reining in their shots from long range whenever it's possible, Tottenham. And Arsenal still at the moment cannot find a really worthwhile challenging attack. Hoddle just too high there. Sunderland, Talbots, they're getting their midfield men forward a little more readily. And a free kick given to Arsenal. As Paul Davis was sent tumbling to the ground as he went forward, searching that pass. And Arsenal get the free kick. Being carefully lined up again by Ray Clements. Hollins and Ricks and Nicholas this time behind it, but I think it might be played out wide, possibly for Hollins to have a bang at it. No, it's not. It's played. A very well worked free kick there by Arsenal, with Ricks just looping that up and Nicholas cracking it well on the volley. There we go. Our dealers attacking the ball, but it ends up with Clements. Galvin laid wide for Houghton, but I think yes, he might just keep it in. Yes, he has. Yes, he has. And he might well be rewarded because he's got a few up there, including Cooks. He's not away yet. Jennings doing his best, battling outside the box, and Jennings is down injured. Now what happens? As Cooks turns it in, Arsenal want to get it away and surely want to get it out of play. It's not out of play yet. Jennings is still down. It's in Spurs' interest, obviously, to keep the ball in play. Arsenal must try and keep it out, but now the referee has decided that that's enough of that. The whistle has gone, and Jennings can get some treatment. Well, Pat Jennings had come storming out of his goal here after Garth Crooks. There he went. Not content with that, he went again. And that's where he seemed to injure himself, and suddenly Arsenal were in terrible trouble. They got this one away, but the goal is basically unattended. And in the end, the referee decided that the whistle had to go. Well, it's been a terrible afternoon for Pat Jennings. What a blow it would be. I can't think that he'll go off. It looks as though he's strained, maybe up in the groin area. Well, I'm sure Jennings will go on. What we're also sure about is that Raphael Mead, the substitute, will be coming on. Getting some instructions there from the Arsenal manager, Terry Neal. And there's a stretcher for Pat Jennings. That's a desperate sight. For one of the game's great pros and one of the most friendly of characters, who's had a nightmare here today after that shot from Garth Crooks slipped through his hands. And now as he tried to challenge Crooks outside the area, he gets himself injured, and suddenly Arsenal have a mighty problem. A goal down, a goalkeeper off, And a substitute about to come on. And it's Peter Nicholas who is going to go into goal for the last 13 minutes of the game. Well, everybody fancies himself as a goalkeeper. Peter Nicholas now removes the number 10 shirt. He puts the number 1 over it. Has the chance to find out for himself in the most searching of conditions. A cup tie against Spurs with Pat Jennings in obviously a lot of pain, hobbling out of this game and getting a tremendous round of applause, it has to be said, from the Arsenal fans. You look at them behind that goal, that's the measure of the respect that they have for the man. Maybe his mistake will cost him a cup tie, but maybe they also remember the many games that he's won for them with some brilliant keeping. It's all Spurs now. Houghton leading by 1-0. Hoddle crossed in once more. Crooks! And the flag was up as Crooks with a bullet header. In fact, it never went into the goal. Sanson. Well, Ardeli's got lost there. Ricks played it forward. Clements quickly out of his goal. It's not over yet. Now it is. Spurs have beaten their old rivals. The goal by Garth Crooks in the first half that crept through the arms and the hands of Pat Jennings. The holders go through to round 4. Their supporters are jubilant, not only with a cup tie victory, but against the oldest of enemies. Sporting gestures there from the Arsenal skipper David O'Leary and young Stuart Robson. The game played in a good spirit, but for Tottenham, the best possible result. A nightmare for Pat Jennings, his mistake that led to the only goal, and then finds himself carried off with what looked to be a thigh injury some 10 minutes from the end. Final score then at White Hart Lane in this third round FA Cup tie. It's Spurs 1, Arsenal 0.